You're listening to the Travis Makes Money podcast. What's going on, money makers? Welcome back to the Travis Makes Money podcast, where it's our mission to help you make some extra cash this year. Today on the show, we're going to be talking a little bit about social media and how you can potentially gain a following with your expertise with my new friend, Dr. Anis Khalaf. He's a leading expert in traditional Chinese medicine, blending ancient wisdom with modern science to help people optimize their health. As the founder of Natural Flicks, a wellness education platform, he has built a thriving community with nearly 500,000 TikTok followers and a verified presence on Instagram. His expertise has generated well over 7 figures in revenue through digital programs, coaching, and product partnerships. So obviously, while not everybody listening is going to start an acupuncture practice, you can take a lot of the things that he's learned from a marketing perspective and apply them to whatever it is that you're trying to work on to get more customers in the door and make some extra cash. But before we jump into that conversation, if you're tuning in and wondering how I go about building the relationships with the amazing people I have on this show or on my other podcast, Travis Makes Friends, it's been through the podcast. The podcast is the Trojan horse of connection for me. And it can also help you create better content for social, build an audience, grow your brand, sharpen expertise, and then potentially even pay you sponsorship dollars to do all of those things. So for a limited time, I am taking 1 or 2 one-on-one coaching clients right now. I'm reopening my calendar, which I've not done in a really long time. So if you are already running a successful 7, 8, 9-figure business and any of what I just said sounds appealing to you, head over to travischappell.com/coaching. There's a quick application there. We'll jump on a call to see if maybe I could help you get your podcast out in the world or improve your existing show if you got one already. That's travischappell.com/coaching. Now, without any further ado, Dr. Anis, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you so much, Travis. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Dr. Anis Khalaf. I'm a medically trained acupuncture physician, and I specialize in traditional Chinese medicine, where I get to really live and thrive in both in-office and a virtual world, where I help top performers really optimize their health through energy, longevity, and a very unique system called element typing, which is an ancient practice that customizes many health strategies based on a person's unique constitution. So, Travis, I love your show, and I'm so grateful to be on here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. Yes, sir. I'm happy to, when your team reached out, I was like, yeah, this sounds like a great chat. I love the innovation, man, because there's a lot of people out there that have, private practices, whether it's chiropractic or even massage therapy to acupuncture and everything in between. But there's not a lot of people that figure out how to turn it into actually a real cash flowing business. And I really like that you guys have embraced the new audience platforms like TikTok and things like that in order to help grow the brand. And then you're telling me before that you even are now monetizing that audience that you built on TikTok as well. So talk to me about the beginning stages of all of this. Were you making money to start with? If not, how did you get into that money-making mindset?
Yeah, no, that's great, man. And so I own a company called Acupuncture Fit, which is my in-person practice. By the grace of God, we've now expanded to 2 states, and I believe it's because, what we are doing is authentic. We are filling voids that people have when it comes to health and wellness. Obviously, even on the political front, you're seeing a shift and a change, right? And what people want and need and want to fill their lives with. On the virtual side, virtualtcm.com is where I get to help clients globally, where I get to share health and wellness tips on TikTok. So, early on, and by the way, I'm really excited to talk about this because I'm mostly on health forward podcasts, which I absolutely love, but I firmly believe that health is wealth. And if you don't have your health, like really, what do you have? If you accumulate all this money through abundance, and then at the end of the day, you're going to see the pyramids in Egypt at the end of your life, but you're in a walker, right? Versus like going to walk around. And so, I firmly believe that health directly impacts wealth, performance, and also long-term success. So yeah, early on in practice, I was very closed-minded. I didn't really have an open mind. I just thought, becoming a doctor early on, was going to make me millions of dollars, right? And I always tell people, if you want to make it quickly, go invent Google or something like that because it takes time. But there is a way to do it smart. And if you're in any health category and listening to this, or even any other industry, relationships or finance, I firmly believe in doing one thing very well, which is what I did in practice. But then within my own niche, it was so very, very impactful to be able to start bringing in other streams. You'll hear this a lot, multiple streams of income. And I'm conflicted when I hear this statement, but I always encourage others. I always encourage entrepreneurs that I coach is to if you're gonna go the multiple streams of income route, keep it within your niche,
Hmm.
right? there's
Go
something about
vertical.
focused, exactly, going completely deep. Because in Chinese medicine, the wisdom is, the trees that have the deepest roots, when the storms come, they're not going to be weathered over. And so, in person, in practice, I get to help clients one on one. They fly in from all over the world now, and they have gotten to know me through educating on social media and brand collaborations. I'm able to leverage an audience now that we've built that's nearly 500,000 followers on TikTok for partnerships and getting to meet amazing people like you, Travis. But I do it all through offering customized health plans from a global perspective. We also have a group coaching program where it's a membership model for people who just want to come in and learn on their own time. And then where my heart is truly in giving back. I believe in when much is given, much is expected. And so we have now, Travis, recently launched our nonprofit where we get to raise government funding, private funding for underprivileged families who don't have access to natural health care. And really, that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
But I took a traditional medical career because I'm actually a medically trained acupuncture physician, and I scaled it beyond just physical appointments into a global digital first business.
What was there a point when you graduate from medical school and become a doctor and then you go open your own practice? Was there a point that you remember looking back on making a real decision and drawing a line in the sand to say, you know what, I am no longer just a doctor. I have to become a business person. And the context for asking this question is that there's a lot of people who want to make money doing something on the side, or they want to start a business, and it's largely based on the thing that they know. It's based on their expertise. But then they realize after venturing into something else, like venturing into business for themselves, that they can no longer just rely on their expertise as a plumber, as a doctor, as a technician, as a construction worker or foreman or whatever. They have to then learn sales, marketing, HR, hiring, legal, finance. Like you have to all of a sudden wear all these different hats, and you just graduated from years and years of schooling and thinking like, man, well, I made it, but now all of a sudden I don't know anything again. What's happening here? What was there a clear moment for you where you were like, oh my gosh, I got to become a business person now?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what when that moment was, and I'll never forget it. A really good friend of mine, and it's a reason why we've expanded to Tennessee in our second location. His name is Dr. Josh Axe.
Oh yeah.
Massive and brilliant physician in the health space. I'm the subject matter expert for his health institute, and he taught me something back when I first started, and that was becoming a master of my time. Because you just mentioned all of these things. It's like you get in entrepreneurship. And actually, another one of my mentors said it's literally like jumping off a cliff and trying to build an airplane on the way down,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that my biggest tip in response to this, really that I swear by, is scale your knowledge, not just your time. The biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make is tying their income to hours worked.
Hmm.
And this is the biggest thing that I saw in practice. And many physicians, many health coaches, or whatever your practice is, they can do very, very well. But there's this just element that confines them to like the time worked that almost traps them. Then they get their name slapped on this sign and maybe some billboards around town, and they're just so limited in their thinking,
Yeah.
right? I was just surrounded by this. But when Dr. Axe really helped me elevate my mindset, and many other mentors, by the way, I turned my expertise into a more scalable offering. People
Hmm.
ask all the time, like, how do you do acupuncture virtually? And I'm like, well, if I could do that, we'd all be flying on my private jet, right? But we can't. So I was confined to just, hey, a patient comes in, I help them, and we were doing some amazing things. But my thinking was limited to that. It was my thinking about time. What was really in a sort of jail. So the way I broke out of that was starting to develop membership programs,
Hmm.
online courses, and partnerships where I'm not just doing it alone. Like this practice isn't driven by a name or an ego. Once I started doing that, Travis, my income started to grow without requiring more hours.
Sure. Yeah. It's the difference between being an expert and being an entrepreneur. Like one path leads you to owning a job, and the other path leads you to owning a business. And it's like, if you want to own a job, I guess that's okay, but then why take all the additional risk of, like you're giving up your 40-hour a week calendar schedule to work 60 hours a week and probably make less money than you were making before. Like, you're taking additional risk, you're probably making less money, you're probably working more hours, and all of that to own a job that's never going to pay you as much as you would have just gotten if you were just an employee somewhere. It's like, that mindset has to shift at some point to being just another person who offers a service, to owning a business that is actually scalable and gets you out of, trading your time for dollars.
It's funny as you say that, and we were kind of joking before, like both of us, almost forget that it's President's Day and here we are working, we're grinding, and it's worth it at the end of the day. There was a study done, Travis, that studied orcas in the wild and orcas in captivity.
Mm-hmm.
And they found that orcas in captivity lived half as long as orcas in the wild.
Wow.
And if you think about, the standard 9 to 5 grind, it's kind of like being in captivity. It is being in captivity. And so just early on, I thought about my life and where I wanted to be, but thinking big, like at 60, 70, even beyond when I'm not here anymore, what's that legacy that I'm going to leave? And in order to reach that legacy, I had to become wild and free.
Mm.
And so that's what I did. And I made a decision to really become a master of my time. And then from there, scale to the next level.
So, how do you run your personal finances with all of this, Dr. Anise? So, you have now several businesses, several income streams. You could take the money that you're making at any point and you could dump it into a retirement plan. You could dump it into real estate. You could dump it into any of your current existing businesses to make them more profitable, or to buy back some of your time in those businesses. You can put it into a different business that could potentially be a new income stream. How do you typically look at this? Is there a structure here? Do you like take a certain percentage of this and put it here? Like, how do you look at managing your personal finances when it comes to your lifestyle, your expenses, expanding new business ideas, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. I firmly believe no matter how much money I'm making, whether it's a penny all the way up to, millions of dollars, is first and foremost, I tithe. I give back. I believe healing is above down, inside out, and so is income. So, I just always think the big man upstairs first, and right off the bat, it's generally, if maybe you're faith-based and you're listening to this, like the general rule of thumb is like, 10%. But maybe if that's not feasible for you and you're listening to that, maybe it's just, offering some free services, as you grow, or maybe it's something greater. But right off the bat, I have to lead with that, because just the more I give, it's amazing how much comes back to me. Now, when it comes to, looking at finances, I do set aside some money as well, anywhere from 15 to 25% back into savings for both personal and the business,
Okay.
because life happens, right? In both. And then when it comes to kind of like that other 70%, before I actually go and do anything, because finances really aren't a strong suit of mine, I mentor with those who've gone before me, who are high earners. I connect with other earners. I ask them, where are they doing? What are they going through? Where are they putting their money? And, I just firmly believe in modeling that.
Yeah.
I also believe in taking money, and really the best investment is putting it back to myself,
Yeah.
continuing education, putting it back into the company. I mean, I just don't think there's a better investment than back to myself. And then from there, any extra, that is left over. I'm in tech as well. I do love, a variety, and what are some new natural health companies that are out there? Companies like I've no actually business partnership with them, but like companies like, let's say, the Aura Ring, like wearables, are a very, very, it's up and coming next. It's like the future of health. Like really just thinking about like, where is healthcare going? Just because that's my specialty, right?
Sure. Sure.
So I love investing in that. I do also dabble in crypto a little bit, but again, that's going to be a much higher risk.
Yeah.
And I would say, thirdly, kind of on a high level, is real estate.
Okay.
Investing in real estate is I think a really safe play. And so I would say, in a very roundabout way, just investing back into myself and my business pays the biggest dividends and
Yeah.
has and that continues. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Yeah, well, I think that that's the best advice is if you're in a position where you don't have any money in the bank account and you have a lot of debt, then it's kind of like, okay, well, first off, we got to get rid of the debt. But then after we get rid of the debt, it's like, what's the best investment to make? Well, it's probably not anything in particular. It's probably not real estate or stocks, or especially not individual stocks or crypto or any of these things. Probably the best return on your investment is going to be something back into yourself. It's going to be something into yourself to increase your ability to earn is really what it is. So like, if you don't have an MD after your name and you don't have any specialized skills or knowledge, then maybe investing into yourself to go get that so that you can increase your income from $52,000 a year to $85,000 a year. And then from 85 to 120 and from 120 to 180, like that's going to be a better return than taking the $3,000 that you have and putting it into a stock, or taking the $3,000 you have and buying Bitcoin or something like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's better to do that than it is to go buy a new TV, sure. But like if you're looking at it from an objective perspective, then it's probably best to go buy a $3,000 course or program to learn a skill that's going to increase your ability to earn and increase your capacity to make an income, so that there's more money to go do that again with, right? So you can take that money and then put $10,000 into yourself to increase your skill set, or to join this group that puts you around maybe potential clients for this side hustle that you started, so that you can increase your income there. And then once you have 25,000 extra, then you start looking at like, okay, let's maybe put that into some stocks, or maybe let's do, save up 100 grand to put a down payment into a rental property or something like that. Because like until you have like excess cash coming in, the $700 in your bank account isn't going to do anything for you when it comes to putting it into a stock or something like that. Like not even close to the degree that you're going to get as far as a return if you just put that money back into yourself. So I appreciate that.
Travis, one more quick story. I remember sitting on my couch in practice a couple years in, Googling how to make money as a doctor. An ad popped up. I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. An ad popped up for a conference. I whipped out my credit card, literally nothing in savings practically, because I put it back in my practice. And not only did I register for the conference, I registered for the extra VIP. So it's like 100 for the conference. Back then there was another 500 for the VIP ticket up front. And I got to tell you, from that one event, the number of people that I met by doing that changed the course of my life. So if you're thinking about either registering for a course, like building a podcast such as yours, or maybe getting into the health space, like some of our courses, like go above and beyond, and it will pay dividends in return.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, man, where it's like, if you want to live a life that nobody else can live, then you have to do the things that nobody else will do. And that's one of those things that nobody else will do. They look at the money and they go, well, I mean, $3,000 for a coach or whatever. It's like, man, I could buy a TV and better system. And they're thinking like I used to think when I was in middle school, which is like, oh, I wonder what the next gaming system I could get is. I wonder what the next iPad version coming out that I can get is. I wonder how I can impress my friends with the new iPhone type thing. It's like, you're still thinking like that and you're 40. Like there's an issue. Like you need to be thinking about like, what can I invest into that allows me to get myself in a position where $3,000 is nothing, where I could buy 12 TVs and not even think about it like that. Like I want to be in that position. So until I am in that position, then it makes more sense to take this money and dump it back into me than it does to go get this thing that's not really going to impress anybody, that nobody's going to think about, beyond the first time that they saw it. So yeah, I'm a big believer in that as well. Like you got to be able to increase your own capacity to go earn a dollar. And the best way to do that is continue to invest in yourself when it comes to me, it's like the future-proof things, which is the 3 C's of future-proofing to me is your competence, which would be your skills or your knowledge base, your connections, the people that you know, and then content. Content's one of those things that you can put into that's completely free, that has the ability to have long-term future-proofing effects. So if you can invest into those 3 things, competence, connections, or content, like you can bypass a lot of the issues that a lot of people are going to be facing in the next 3 to 5 years. The problem is that, it's going to take 3 to 5 years. It's not going to be 3 months from now where all your problems are gone, so you gotta get over that and then move on to the next problems. So tell me your vice, Dr. Anise. Do you have a money vice? Do you have something that like, you're like, it's not necessarily advice, meaning like this is a bad thing. But if you look at it and you're like, yeah, I mean, this is technically a waste of money, but I love it and I'm going to keep buying it.
I absolutely love that question. I would say for me, it's like very nice watches. My mom was born in Italy and my dad was born in Jordan, and like my grandfather owned some of the like largest optical and watch companies, and I
Okay.
was just always fascinated by like a nice Rolex, or I would say, right, which I don't recommend anybody when they're starting way down the road to think that that is an investment. But I'm a sucker for a nice watch, brother.
Yeah, I was gonna say no need to caveat. It's your advice, bro. Like you can do whatever you want, you know. But that's why I love the question though, because to me it's like we gotta give ourselves something. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like the game isn't just about stacking cash and having a bigger dollar amount in the bank account. It's like money is energy. It comes and goes, and its only purpose is to be able to be spent. The accumulation of it doesn't do anything for the quality of life that you have unless you move that accumulation toward things that bring you some sort of inner happiness or joy or fulfillment. For some people it might be a trip to Hawaii, but for some people it might be a nice watch, and if that's you, then go buy the nice watch. The mistake would be to buy the watch to impress other people that you don't really care about if you don't actually like watches. That would be the mistake. But yeah, buying a watch because it's something that you care about, I mean, do your thing, man. Enjoy the money that you have earned and the abundance that you've created for yourself. So thank you for the honest answer. I appreciate that.
Always, of course.
Let's move into the final segment here, Dr. Needs something, just a rapid round, quick rapid questions, quick rapid answers. What profession other than your own do you think that it'd be fun to master?
Oh, professional DJ. Absolutely, because I firmly believe that music is medicine, brother. In addition to those watches, I love to travel.
If you could sit on a park bench with someone, past or present, and chat for an hour, who would it be?
For me, it'd be Jesus Christ. I want to learn his healing techniques firsthand because I would say he was pretty good at it.
How do you like to consume information best? Books, audiobooks, blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, newsletters?
Yeah, I'm a visual person and auditory, so podcasts and videos. There's so many out there, obviously, including yours that I absolutely love. But vlogs, podcasts, and videos.
What's a good money making podcast you'd recommend? Obviously, besides Travis Makes Money.
It really depends on the type of money maker you are. Like I love Dave Ramsey if you're going to be more conservative, like with your money. And then there are some other great podcasters out there. Particularly, I like, and he's not even a podcaster, but he's an accountant. His name's Carlton Dennis. I don't know if you follow him on social.
No, no.
Look up Carlton Dennis. He gives some of the best, in my opinion, from an accounting perspective, ways to use your money right and make it even work for you. Really, really cool up and coming guy that's mutual friends with some of our crew.
Love it. What is your go to pump up song?
I would say Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, just because it was my high school soccer warm-up song. So that just always gets me.
Timeless. Yeah.
Yes.
What is something you are not very good at?
Dude, I'm not good at standing still. That doesn't take much time. Like I always need to be learning. I always need to be building and or creating something.
As we get everything wrapped up here, Dr. Nice, where can people go to get more from you?
Well, Travis, thank you again so much for having me on here. Again, it's a pleasure and an honor, and I'm truly grateful and humbled that I'm able to use your platform as a voice for others to just learn and grow, especially those who are suffering from pain, infertility, addiction. Maybe they're looking to lose weight or even help their health in an even more terminal, rare, or severe case, which is actually my deeper subspecialty. And if you want to, follow, you can go check us out on TikTok and Instagram and across really all social at Acupuncture Fit. If you're interested in booking a one-on-one consultation, we do have a little bit of a wait list right now, but it is moving along pretty quickly. And you can go do that at virtualtcm.com. Again, that's virtualtcm.com. Or if you're more into like an on-demand and wellness education platform, you can go check out naturalflix.com. And I have a fun free assessment that actually saved my life from potential precancerous polyps in my colon. It's a Think Enneagram, but for health. And it's an ancient body element typing assessment. And you just head on over to elementtype.com. Again, that's elementtype.com to find your personalized health type.
elementtype.com. Other than that, go to at acupuncture fit on all the social platforms. They're blowing up on TikTok, so go check out some of the stuff they put over there as well. Dr. Neese, thanks so much for doing this. Everybody else that's tuning in, remember, money only solves your money problems. Then you're left with the problems that money can't solve. But it's a little bit easier to solve those problems with some money in the bank. So let's solve that problem first here on the Travis Makes Money podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. Peace out.